Hello, guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures. And today we're going to be doing a kind of review of the latest pack coming for Jurassic World Evolution 3. I was actually not expecting to have one quite so soon, but you know how it all goes. I did not expect this. I thought there was update 18. I was like, oh, they had the Torosaurus one and Minmi last month, and now they're like, oh, because June. That's only like a month's difference. So I'm actually genuinely impressed how they managed to get the turnaround on this one pretty quick. I wonder if we'll actually have one in October before, and then one in December. I'm actually kind of curious now because they probably still want to fit in the 4 in the year. But, of course, they had a bit of a delay with all the lawsuit stuff happening with the pit and all that. But yeah, very, very interesting DLC coming. This is called Crocodilian Coast, and it does have some. There is 3 crocodilians in it, but it has got a lot of really cool animals that people have been really wanting, especially some Triassic animals, and of course the big croc that everyone wants. So I'm really excited to get stuck into this one, and we're going to have a look. Okay, so you see, Jurassic World Evolution 3, Crocodilia Coast. It's quite an interesting one there. So you can see we've got a first look at our first animal of the pack. This is, of course, a Deinosuchus, probably the big croc everyone wanted. It was a toss-up between Sarcosuchus, Postosuchus, or, Deinosuchus. Deinosuchus is kind of the quick essential one, so I felt like that would be the most obvious option, though Sarcosuchus and Postosuchus would have all been really good choices. It really doesn't matter that much either way. Someone probably going to try and mod them in anyway, so I'll have to cover that. But yeah, Deinosuchus is a great choice, and it's really nice that they're really starting to try and take advantage of the semi-aquatic animals coming to the game. So yeah, really cool look at the Deinosuchus here. There is a couple things wrong with it, like the nostrils are in the wrong spot. Doesn't quite look. It looks more like just a large crocodile rather than a genuine Deinosuchus. I'm sure there'll be some mods to update that, but it does look rather nice. I'm actually really impressed, considering how the saltwater crocodile looks for Planet Zoo 2. I'm very impressed with how it's come out. Not quite as good, just because it's meant to be more of a generic. Sorry about that. More of a generic kind of animal. Yeah, that's more generic. And here we can see the second animal coming to the pack. This is Postosuchus. So a lot of people have been really wanting this one because Postosuchus, walking with dinosaurs. It's also like a dinosaur before there were true dinosaurs, really. The T-Rex, these guys were Archosaur. Technically a crocodilian. They were more crocodile-line archosaurs, more closely related to an alligator than they were to an Allosaurus. They're really, really cool. And then obviously these guys would have been separated by millions of years. These guys were from the Jurassic. This one was from the Cretaceous. But still cool to see them. And we get 2 Jurassic animals this time around, technically. I'll say we get 5 in this pack, but we'll have a little bit of a discussion here. And you can see the Deinosuchus does have a attack animation, so it does that, and then it looks like it does a death roll. So really making this guy unique. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to make these crocodilians and really unique animals in the game. So yeah, here we've got over here, this is the Crocodilian Coast DLC. So coming it says the 12th of August for me because I'm in the future, because I'm in New Zealand. The price it's a bit more expensive than the Wetlands pack, by the looks of it. Obviously not as expensive as the Rebirth pack, just because it's not got as much content. But yeah, really nice to see. A lot of people have been really requesting the Deinosuchus and stuff like that, so it's really interesting that we got it this early, and people have been really, Frontier's been really listening. Okay, so I'll actually zoom in a little bit. I think that's what we'll need. There we go. So, featuring a bite force more powerful than the Tyrannosaurus Rex, prepare to welcome the first crocodile to the Jurassic World Evolution game franchise, the Deinosuchus. Thrill your guests with 5 prehistoric species: the Deinosuchus, Postosuchus, Desmatosuchus, Styxosaurus, and Shonisaurus. So yeah, that's 2 animals that we already got. We'll talk about that soon. Each species comes as a complete family unit and features bespoke interactions, and the first ever bioluminescent skins for the Styxosaurus juvenile. So that's interesting as well. Build your own weathered coastal locations and expand your waterside operations with detailed scenery, signage, props, and blueprints for your guests to enjoy. So that's quite interesting as well. So yeah, that's 5 returning species, and 2 of them are DLC animals. From what we've seen here, the Deinosuchus, we've got to look at the Deinosuchus. You can see it here. We also got the Postosuchus, which we saw in the trailer. And we actually do have a sneak peek here. This is the Desmatosuchus. If you don't know what Desmatosuchus is, it was a genus of Aetosaur, which was an early group of herbivorous crocodilians. Kind of like the ankylosaurs before they were ankylosaurs. Like in the same vein that Postosuchus was a T-Rex before there was one. Or a theropod before there was a theropod. Very, very cool animal. And looks really nice. Apparently I've heard through the grapevine that apparently it's the females are going to have the larger horns, which is still a little bit weird. But I mean, that's easy change. It's not really, they're just trying to do something different, but still really cool animal. I'm actually quite impressed with how they've done that. But again, a lot of people are really weird about the elephant in the room. Styxosaurus and Shonisaurus, if you don't know, were DLC for Jurassic World Evolution 2. The Styxosaurus came out for I think it was the late Cretaceous pack. Yeah, it was the late Cretaceous pack, I'm pretty sure. And the Shonisaurus came up at the prehistoric marine species. So the fact that we're getting them again is a little bit of a worry, and plus that also adds to the price. I hope that doesn't become too much of a feature. I think that's very much, you're basically buying the animals. You know how everyone kicked up a stink about, well, not kicked up a stink, but rightfully so, because, the hybrids pack for Jurassic World Evolution 2, that was literally just reselling animals that they already had in the first game. Especially, like, I know they redid the Ankylodocus, which I think that's fair, because the Ankylodocus was a new remodel, it was changed, and it wasn't the same animal. Yes, it's got the same name, but that's it. But yeah, the Spinoraptor and the Stegoceratops were completely unchanged. They were literally just ported from the game, which I think was a little bit unfair. I could give benefit of the doubt if one of them was. If they had given us a Jurassic World accurate Stegoceratops variant, I would have been okay with that. But I think that they kind of it's also that it's just because of the name. It's only a name. If I were to if they redesigned completely the Styxosaurus, redesigned it completely, and gave it this new family unit, I wouldn't have this issue. But they're not going to do that because they've already made it. Why would you want to redo it? You're just redoing it so people wouldn't say, "Oh, why are you changing the design?" And plus, it already has an old design, and people like the design, and they probably want that design in Jurassic World Evolution 2, Evolution 3. So it's kind of like, But I can see kind of both sides of the argument. Like, they didn't. This is a new game. They didn't promise us that these. They promised that the base DLC animals, of course, the base game animals from Jurassic World Evolution 2 would come over to 3 as free updates. They promised that. They didn't promise that with DLC. And again, you didn't have to buy the Jurassic World Evolution 2 DLC. You weren't forced to. And porting all these animals, that does take money and time. Because you have to pay someone to do that, and you got to pay a team to put an animal in the game. So just putting it in for yes, it's the diminishing returns. Like I agree that it's moral, but it's still diminishing returns. And plus, Universal is probably like, because Universal is a massive corporation that would be like, no, we're not going to say no to free money. So I feel like this may be a compromise potentially. But yeah, I hope this doesn't become too much of a fixture. I think a lot of people have been really, and rightfully so, vocal about it, but it's kind of like, if you were to ask my take on it, I think that If you were to completely redesign the only thing that was same about it was the name. Maybe you can get away with it because you've redone it from scratch, like the Ankylodocus. Or if you provide a new variant, like if let's say they wanted to redo the Pachyrhinosaurus, and for Jurassic World Evolution, and then they had the Chaos Theory variant. So you've added a new variant to it as well. So you put in the new effort, of course, of making the new models and stuff like that, and then you give us both versions. I think that's fair because you have put in the effort, because it's worth the effort because they have literally gone in and not only just done the new species and the dimorphism, they've literally made the animal from scratch again to fit the one in Chaos Theory. That I think would be acceptable, but unless they've done that with these guys, obviously they haven't been seen in any of the Jurassic World lore, really. So I think that's a little bit disingenuous. So I hope this is them just testing the waters or just trying to get the animals out quicker. Because there's about 30 animals. If they were to do one a month like they've been doing, they would be 3 to 4 years. If they're doing one a month, they're going to have like 4 years where they're going to be just putting the animals back in the game. I think they might be like, no, we want to speed that up a bit. And to do that, you got to pay someone to do it, which means you got to put it in a DLC. You got to make it so you have to pay to get them. So yeah, that's kind of where I think they're at and what I think about it. It's a little bit of a difficult one. Yeah, but I hope that I have been working on my next DLC thing because now we've got the rebirth through and all that. I got some DLC ideas and I'll modify it. I've kind of come up with ways I think that are acceptable. But yeah, it is totally a moral thing whether you're paying the money. No one's forcing you to buy this DLC. If you feel like the Styxosaurus and Shonisaurus should have been free DLC, free animals, which I agree they should be, or they could have been. Feel free to voice your opinions. That's the point. It's your money. You do what you want with it. You stand up for it, and I agree with you. I think they should. It doesn't mean you can buy it and disagree with it. It's just voting with your wallet, and they will see the outcry. We know Frontier, particularly for a company, very interested and very in tune with what the community thinks. So I feel like this might have been a universal saying: if you want these animals out quicker, you got to pay. You got to make it pay for them because they got to get their money, because it's their IP. I feel like the IP of Jurassic Park does kind of hold Frontier back a bit. Like even seeing what's happened with Planet Zoo, there's been nothing like this in Planet Zoo. They haven't tried to resort animals yet. At least they haven't yet. And it could be the different story with Planet Zoo too, but they haven't done really anything. The biggest thing I can think about was the polar bear controversy and the Binturong, the wrong one, and how they messed that one up. But that's the only one I can think of. But yeah, build your own weathered coastal location, expand, and we already talked about that. And what's really cool, I love how they've actually done these and kind of show them off. So 5 species added to your game. So this is the Deinosuchus. Well, the Deinosuchus is significantly larger. It's over from They actually found that Deinosuchus. They originally thought it was a member of the alligator family with alligators and caiman, but they actually are convergent and they're actually more Eusuchian. So that's quite interesting as well. Yeah, very cool animal. 80 million years ago. Yeah, all that information's correct. You can see here's the eggs. They probably reveal them in time. But Mama, Papa, Mama, and Bubby, which is quite cool. And I can't wait to see the other ones. I think it'll be quite interesting. And here's the gallery. You can see that. I really like that. Actually, that if you look at this, I actually really like how that's come out. Little pre-rendered thing. But you also got these there. Look at that. So there's the Postosuchus there. Really good look at it. Running around. Very good crocodile. Well, croco. And here's some of the new building pieces. Oh, that's the trailer, I think. Yeah, that's the trailer. No, we're not going to watch that. It's just a little pre-rendered thing. I mean, we could watch it. Why not? Let's watch it. I'm feeling generous.
Your attention, please. All guests must take shelter in the...
Yep, it's a little pre-rendered, cool little thing there. And here's some of the scenery. So, from waterfront huts to boardwalk blueprints, the Jurassic World Evolution 3 Crocodilia Coast pack has everything you need to quickly build a stunning water's edge area for your guests to relax. until a dinosaur escape, that is, or take advantage of a full wall kit, props, lights, and signage to create custom windswept areas around your new species enclosures and lagoons. That's quite cool. So 13 blueprints. Let's look at these blueprints. Oh, I think that look quite nice, like a big wharf. It's quite nice on a lagoon. Yeah, that looks quite nice actually. So you can go through. I don't think it'll let you actually on these ones yet. So these are different. There we go. It's a little bungalows. I've seen a few of them where I used to live. Very, very fun. Very, very cool little thing. It's got the solar panels too. I imagine a lot of people take full advantage of that. Boardwalk. Some more kind of, yeah, that looks really nice. And take advantage of those glass pieces coming with the free update. And here's some of the scenery bits. So all sorts of walls and glasses and all sorts of decals. That looks like a marlins, shrimp, lobster. Very, very fun. I actually quite like that. Really, really cool little thing. All right, so here's some pictures from the DLC. Baby Croco looks very cute. I actually quite like that, and that's a cool image. I'm really excited to see what they've done with Deinosuchus. I hope that they've given it a lot of change and variety. So let's see what we got. Deinosuchus, the prehistoric kind of franchise. Postosuchus. Wait. It's semi-aquatic predator that lurks in the water and to ambush prey with a fierce death roll attack. So yeah, it's come with a new attack, which is really cool. And apparently the bone, they had to add a new bone in a lot of the animals so they can do the death roll on them. So I wonder how many animals they've allowed it to death roll. So I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, its long, broad snout, muscular tail, and quadrupedal walking style makes it fit well on land and water. So yeah, really allowing us to take advantage of that deep water. Very, very cool. Postosuchus. So this ancient cousin of modern crocodilians shares many common physical traits, such as a robust skull, armored skin, and a deadly jaw of dagger-like teeth. The bipedal family unit mixes a need of arid and wetland to thrive, and your parks, be careful it doesn't escape, tend to chase guests down and hold them down with their front forelimbs. I feel like that's a bit redundant, you said, with their forelimbs, because it's the forelimbs always the fore is always the front, it's the back limb, and it does have lips. I think it actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure it does have lips. That's impressive. I'm actually going to quickly check that again. I want to check if it's actually got lips. I didn't actually quite check. It does have lips. Wow, I'm actually genuinely impressed. Oh wow, it's got lips. They genuinely made it really good, a lot of those archosaurs, they don't reconstruct them with lips, because crocodiles don't have them. That means they mustn't have them, even though it's the ancestral condition. But I'm actually really impressed they put lips on the Deinosuchus. That Postosuchus, came out amazing. It generally actually has come out pretty good. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a better picture there. Yeah, and I like how they did the scoots. They made it not just basic crocodile, they add a lot more difference to it. I'm very impressed with that Postosuchus. It's probably my favorite in the pack. I like his design more than the Deinosuchus, to be honest. I'm very impressed. So yeah, a lot of really cool animals coming around. And Desmatosuchus really kind of showed that off. That's what it looks like here. Desmatosuchus brings some calm to your park with a herbivorous, distant relative of modern crocodiles. Stacked with defensive adaptations, the Desmatosuchus is effective at deterring potential predators with 2 large shoulder spikes and a carapace formed with 2 rows of bony scoots. Yeah, that's very impressive. Styxosaurus, so named after the river Styx. This long-necked plesiosaur family unit introduced the first ever bioluminescent skins for a juvenile species in Jurassic World Evolution 3. Complementing the male variant with new distinctive patterns and colours, the juvenile also features a set of unique interactions that make it the perfect addition for your waterfront-inspired lagoon builds. Okay, so they have put in a little bit of extra effort, I think, to try and justify it. So the males have new patterns and colours, so that's quite interesting as well. And the juveniles will have own interactions, and they're also bioluminescent too. That's very interesting. Shonisaurus. Okay, enhance your lagoons with the Shonisaurus. This huge ichthyosaur from the late Jurassic period brings a full family unit to your parks. The all-new juvenile model has been carefully designed to maintain that classic rounded design with interactions tailored to its unique circular size. So that's going to be very interesting. It's going to look very cute. I'm sure the baby Styxosaurus and Shonisaurus are going to be very cute. And remember, this does come with the Elasmosaurus as well. So we're getting 3 animals back, and all 3 of them are lagoon animals. So At least they did that, because the lagoons in the game are severely underutilized in terms of their roster and in terms of how you actually use them. They need a major birthday. So I'm glad that we're getting some more lagoon stuff. Though a lot of people are like, well, the lagoons are useless anyway. Why are you giving us more lagoon stuff? We don't use them. Well, that just seems to be a fault of, like, why not just make the lagoons better? Simple as that. That's a free update in itself, and encourage them to use them. But also, we just talked about the scenery, from waterfront huts to boardwalk blueprints. Jurassic World Evolution 3, Crocodilia Coast has everything you need for build stunning water edge areas for your guests until the dinosaur escapes, that is. So yeah, it's probably encouraging you to lose your lagoons and your water more. So I'm very impressed. I'm very happy with that. So, yeah, I think this is a good place to end the video. So I've kind of covered what I wanted to cover this one. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know how I feel about the DLC things yet. They're adding the Styxosaurus and Shonisaurus as paid DLC, especially for more price. If they made it the same and added the 2 extra, or maybe half the price, a little bit more, maybe in between, because it still costs people's time. I can kind of see there's a middle ground somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I'm sure there's a middle ground where I think it's where it's acceptable for the customer, but also for the extra effort that the Frontier has to put in, and the Universal on their back. But yeah, very interesting. So yeah, I really, really, really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys like and subscribe, always remember a little bell icon to get notified about anything. See if you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye bye.